casually if you want. I'm quite casual on screen.
Okay, that's fine.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Emotional Awareness live discussion. I can't believe it's already on week 28 of this 52-week challenge. I completely forgot to mention the last 2 weeks that we were like either side of the halfway mark. So we're now well past that, and I'm still enjoying having conversations every week to help you, if you're watching this, so that you can learn more and more things every week about emotional awareness. And the topics that we cover over the weeks are phenomenal and so varied and always so interesting. But this week, as always, I bring you something different again. And this week, we are talking to my wonderful guest, Denise Eaton. And she's going to be talking to us about what she does in her business, where she uses all kinds of therapies. I mentioned massage, if you saw the description earlier, which is all kinds of therapies. So I'm going to introduce Denise, hello, and ask you to just start by introducing yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do, and then we'll take that through to the weekly discussion. So,
Okay, well, thank you for having me, Kate. It's lovely to be here. My name is Denise Eaton, and I am a massage therapist, among other things. My business is the Therapy Shed, and I'm based in Heacham in Norfolk. And as well as massage therapy, I do talking therapy, I do reflexology, I do nutrition, I'm a holistic nutritionist, and just loads and loads of well-being therapy for everyone to come and make themselves feel better.
Wow, that's quite a lot, and I can definitely vouch for your massage. They're brilliant. And so you do all the different therapies, and it's amazing to hear you say that, because a lot of people focus on one, or they might do 2 or 3, but you've got quite a wide variety under your belt here. So what has it inspired you to sort of like branch out in all these areas?
Wow, well, initially I just did the massage. I just did a basic massage course, and from that spurred off all of the other things. I had people come in who were very spiritual and said, wow, they thought that maybe I should do Reiki, which I also do. So I went and trained in Reiki. My friend, who's a nurse, suggested that I should also look at doing psychotherapy and counselling, because when people come for massage, they naturally, she seemed to think that I was a person that you can speak to and freely and approachable, and maybe that would be a thing to go hand in hand. So I did that as well. So they all thought it was like a domino effect of doing one, then the other, and then the other. And then as I did my basic massage, then I added other massage techniques to that as well, like hot stones and the reflexology and deep tissue and sports massage and aromatherapy and all those lovely things.
Wow, so it is a one-stop shop for feeling well. It's amazing.
It absolutely is, and that's the best thing about it, is people come in with a big frown on their face and always leave with a big smile. So that's great.
Oh, that
whatever
is great.
They come for.
Yeah. So no, I'm really impressed by just the sheer range of therapies that you offer. That's great to start with. So looking at some of them individually, so obviously you started with massage. So what was it that led you into massage to start with, and how do you find that helps your clients before you even go anywhere else?
Well, I really don't know where massage came from. I had a detached garage on the side of my house at the time. I was living in Newcastle under Lyme, and it had already been semi-converted. I'd been a chef up to that point for 35 years and worked in every scenario you could think of. And I was sort of at the end of that tether. And this garage was just blinking at me out of my kitchen window saying, come and make me into something, make me into something. And my partner is a builder, so it just seemed that I should make this garage into I don't know when massage, it was a flash of inspiration, just momentary. It wasn't a longed for vocation by any means, but in my chefing, I always wanted to make sure that people were eating healthy, nutritious food. So, it was not an obvious continuation from that, but it is the same, looking after people and making sure that they're all okay.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So your chefing, it's amazing. Off the back of the chefing, background to go. So from chopping things up to massive, so still doing the chopper bit, but
yeah, I suppose, yeah.
but yeah, that's an interesting transition. So just say hi to
Really?
a couple of ladies. But we've got hi ladies with a heart on here, so I think that's one of the ladies we both know somewhere in the background.
Oh, hi.
If anybody's watching from Facebook, sometimes you just have to pop your name in and allow StreamYard to see your name if you want the comments to come up. Otherwise, we just see you as Facebook user. And just good evening to Yvette. She's my front row
Hi,
lady. It's
Yvette.
every week, bless. And while we're
Oh,
at it, I
that's
don't
nice.
normally do this, but I'm going to say hi to my dad because he watches the replay every single week. I don't watch it live,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
watching the
that's nice.
replay. And hi to anyone else who's watching. So, yes, it's amazing. So, somebody with emotional health issues, like you say, massage obviously we know is quite relaxing. We know that, but it's like, how can we take that into the sort of point of emotional awareness? What sort of challenges do you find people find relief from through the massage, the therapy, reflexology, etc.?
Okay, well, massage therapy is completely both psychologically and physically completely brilliant for your well-being. It releases endorphins, which is your happy state, which is why when you get up from your massage, you feel a little bit lightheaded and you feel like away with the fairies a little bit, and it's just everything it gets removed around your body and makes you just feel fabulous. And not only the physical things, but also you feel like you've done something for yourself, you've looked after yourself, you've had some me time, and it's just you and yourself and the massage therapist, and you've literally given yourself the best hour you could ever give yourself and your body. So, I mean, it's just a win-win both mentally and physically.
Oh, that sounds great. So actually, yes, a good point, because you're saying about doing something for yourself. And actually, I've got there's a gentleman I had on a couple of months back talking about self-love, and he's actually back next week, Jonathan Trowan. I think I've got the right guy back next week.
Yeah.
And I suppose actually, even from that point of making the decision, making that phone call and booking that massage in, you're actually already doing something for yourself from that point before you even turn up. I suppose even
Yeah,
at that point,
absolutely.
it's like, oh, I've got something to look forward to, like a goal, or
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
like gifting yourself. So I suppose even from the call, it's like something positive to look forward to, and then actually
Absolutely. Yeah.
having a purpose to get up and get out of the house that day and go out.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and then I find that ladies that make that. I mean, I had an example about 3 weeks ago. I had a lady come into me and she was very defensive. She really didn't want a massage. But she'd made herself have this massage for her birthday because she'd spent. I think it was her 60th birthday. She'd spent 60 years
wow.
not having a massage because she decided she wanted, and she was all very defensive about the whole thing, and she was quite, offy. There was a few offy comments when she first came in, and I just found a middle ground with her, and from then on, she left me a 5-star Google review, and she had the best time and loved every second of it. And I think the thought as well is that she knew that I was a psychotherapist, so I would understand some of her foibles that she had, and some of her, she had a couple of body dysmorphic things going on, and she knew that I understood that, and as soon as we found that middle ground, she was just enjoyed every second of it and relaxed completely. So she'll be coming back, I'm sure, which is,
That's really
something that
good.
she's waited 60 years to feel good about herself.
Well, I'm glad that she finally got to tick that one off of her bucket, or actually put that one in her bucket list and tick it off at the same time. It's Kat. I said that somebody we know.
Oh,
Hi,
hi,
Kat. Yvette says hi, Denise.
Hi, Yvette.
Here makes you feel good and ready to face the world. Massages are brilliant.
They
Absolutely.
really are.
Yeah, and I must admit, I'd
Yeah.
only ever had a massage, I think, once before I came to you.
Okay.
And I know I'm terrible. And it was one of those where you just kept quiet. You put the music on and you kept quiet. You didn't talk.
Oh.
um,
Oh no, I find everybody talk.
yeah.
Most people want to talk because I think, there's just someone else to talk to. Some people like to not talk, but most people do talk.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's definitely very relaxing and nice feeling. You spoke a minute ago about body dysmorphia, and that
Mm-hmm.
sounds like that's something that links in with something very emotional. Tell us a bit more about
Absolutely.
that.
Okay, so body
Sorry, I
dysmorphia
keep doing
is,
that. Every time you go to drink a bit of coffee, I'm throwing another question in. Sorry.
that's okay. Body dysmorphia is very common amongst teenage girls because um, they are so under pressure from social media, from their friends at school, particularly high school girls, and even some boys, obviously. And it's a bit like anorexia, where anorexics think they're fat. Body dysmorphia often goes along with anorexia because they think they're fat, or they think that they're ugly, or there's something about their body that they really hate, and they just don't want to take their clothes off. They wouldn't ever wear a swimming costume, go swimming. So when it becomes debilitating like that, and your life is changed in some way, or you can't live your life how you would normally live it, then you need to go and get a little bit of help.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, definitely if it's affecting somebody in terms of their diet, like not eating properly, absolutely needing help. But yeah, that's interesting because I think
Yeah.
sometimes I watch these programs like Say Yes to the Dress, and you do see people on there like that, and there's the beautiful gowns they're putting on. They look amazing, but they just don't see it themselves.
No, they don't.
And yeah, and
So
sometimes they
there's
can be some of the
a lot of low self-esteem, low self-esteem, and body dysmorphia, I suppose, is an extremity of low self-esteem, but that's where it starts. And unfortunately, not only do we tell ourselves these awful things, but usually somebody else in our life has been telling us those things for a few years, and it just sort of fits in. When someone's told you something for years and years and years, even if it's just yourself, then you believe it, and it's going to take another years and years and years before you unbelieve it again, which is quite sad.
Yes, I know that one. But yeah, I know that one. But yeah, I mean, obviously it affects men and women as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, it might not even be because it's something we were talking about before. Might not even be something that's been said to them about themselves. But just before we came on live, we were saying about it might even be because I've sort of known children start to be picky about eating when they're about 5, 6 years old, even, and it might even be something they've heard the parents saying about the parents themselves, not even at the
Absolutely.
children, but they pick that up, don't they? Can be from a very early
Absolutely,
age.
yeah. Especially young girls, when mum's saying, "Oh, do I look fat? Am I fat? I need to go on a diet. Don't eat that. That's fattening. Don't eat those." Da, da, da. And it just, they're not talking to the children, but the children hear them, and it all seeps in. And 5, 6, 7-year-old children can't make a rational decision about those things. All they can hear is, "Oh, can't eat that because it makes you fat. Fat isn't good, so I shouldn't eat that." And then, so when they've got their packed lunch at school and they've got a sandwich and they heard yesterday mummy saying, "Oh, I can't eat that. The bread's fattening, the butter's fattening, or whatever's fattening."
Yeah.
That's how it's very easy, and it's very easy to say and very easy to not realise the impact that has on a small person.
Yeah, and then they might be going to school and comparing themselves to other children without being able to voice exactly what they're feeling as well. So yeah, it's very
Absolutely, yeah. They can't make a rational, they can't pick that apart and think, "Oh, that's just mummy being silly," because what mummy says is gospel.
yeah, yeah, that's a
So,
good way of putting it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
we do take it that you're growing up, what your parents tell you is supposed to be what the world becomes,
absolutely,
but
yeah, yeah.
there are no two parents the same out there. And
No,
they're all very different. And then when they get older, get to teenagers, they're then trying to find their own place and their own voice. And then when they start to realize, hang on a minute, this voice and this thought and the things that I want to do and the things I'm interested in don't match what my parents have always told me. That's actually where we can end up with a lot more challenges as teenagers when they're trying to find their own way in life. And it's
absolutely.
yeah, I think it's important for parents to be aware of that so that they realize that they support their children's thoughts and beliefs as well and not just project their own, and to sort of be aware of what you're
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, for me, to have family discussion, which is probably, unfortunately, something else that doesn't really happen very often now, but dinner time, discussion around the table, and what have you done today, and what have you done that's been that's kind today? Has someone done something kind to you? And did you have anything you were sad about? And just to talk about all that stuff, around the dinner table is fabulous. We've all had a day at work and at school, and to have that interaction with the family and feel valued, and you know, it just goes a long way. All of that discussion like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting you say around the table, because with the size of houses these days, there's so many families who don't even have a table or sit and eat TV
Yeah,
dinners. And wouldn't it probably be good sometimes just turn the TV off and just eat and talk
yeah,
and have that time without the telly on. And
yeah.
we
Or any
we
devices at all.
yeah, I must admit we were good growing up. Very rarely did we have a TV dinner. That was a treat. We were always good and sat round the table
Yeah,
with the kids, and we had that discussion. Whereas actually, there's another thing. In I apologise if anybody was getting an echo, because I'm getting an echo again. Um, the next generation back from us, like my parents grew up where you sat round the table, ate your dinner, and you didn't talk. You kept
yeah.
quiet while
Well,
you were
yeah.
eating.
I had quite a Victorian upbringing, and we were a bit sort of don't speak until you're spoken to, but that wore off thankfully after I was about 8. I don't know,
Yeah.
it's still very. You sit up straight, hold your fork properly, and all of that up until I left home, and even now. Are you holding your fork properly, my child? He says, my dad says.
Oh, it wasn't quite that bad.
Yeah, mine was.
Yeah, but no, it's
Yeah,
interesting. But yeah, so we've gone from like don't eat at the table to have family conversation around the table to now it's like trying to get people to go back to eating at the table, and it just almost is
yeah. Or even if there's no
generational change.
table, you can have a picnic on the floor with a blanket on the floor and make it fun. You don't have to
Yeah.
just because you've got a table. It can be anything. Or
Yes.
just a little family powwow now and again is just the best thing ever because everyone assumes what everyone. Oh, thank you, Alison. Everyone assumes that we all know what we're all doing and we all understand each other, but we don't. We have to talk about it. Communication is just the most important thing ever. And when I do my talking therapy and counselling, it's always the biggest problem is somewhere there's a miscommunication or communication breakdown between whoever the issues are with.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And it's very often it's something that somebody's sort of subconsciously doing or unaware of the issues that are being caused. And I think that very much like we we're just saying about the body dysmorphia, it could be a very similar thing about being judgmental about children or about family. It could even be partners. But being judgmental about yourself can sort of almost project that onto other people again. And it's
Yeah.
about just being more aware of what we say and who we say it to, and like, well, is it
Yeah.
helpful and I think one of the biggest things that gets me is when people say to me, you know what you should do, and it's like, or they say, you know what I would do, and it's like, to me, a situation isn't about what that person would do or what they think I should do. A conversation should be to me, a conversation should be about helping the person with the issue find out what they want to do to resolve the problem, not what everybody
Absolutely.
else tells them to do. And I think
Yeah.
it's sort of sometimes taken away all of that judgment and opinion and bias, and in sort of almost ordering people what to do and just getting them to a point where it empowers them to make their own changes. And those are the
Yeah, well,
conversations I'd like to
that's the
see more of.
perfect way forward is to guide someone to do
Mm,
everything for themselves. Yeah,
yeah.
that's how cognitive behavioural therapy works. So, the therapist guides the client to make the right decisions and sort of it's like holding a mirror up. It's showing them how in a mirror on how to go forward and put some of the badder stuff behind them and just have a bit more successful.
Mm. Yeah, because CBT is
Whatever
another
that
thing I think you've got on your list of therapies, isn't
it is, yeah.
it? A lot. I think a good way to explain that actually, for the viewers, is an example. I used to work in a corporate office, and we had some very complex software called SAP, and it was just like it was a be all and end all of office software. And if you ever find two offices that use SAP in the same way, it's like going to two sides of the world and find two identical rough diamonds that you can't identify. It's just this software is so complex. And there was a particular process I didn't understand, but I had to do this to do part of my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say to somebody, oh, I've got to that particular part where I'm stuck. Can you help? And they're like, oh, I'm busy. Hang on, give us your mouse. And they take the mouse and go, da-da-da-da. There we go, done it.
But you
So they've
haven't
done it.
learned anything.
No. So what happens next time I come back to do it? I get to that point again. I need some help again. Oh, we're busy right now. Hang on, give us the mouse. No, look, just show me how to do it. I ain't got time. Blah, blah. And 10 times down the line, I'm saying, look, for goodness sakes, just show me how to do it. There's 10 times. If you'd have just shown me the first time, you wouldn't have had to done it the other 9, you know. It's like finally they take
Yeah.
2 minutes to show me this job and explain
Yeah.
this process. It's like I never had to bother them again. So sometimes it is about empowering somebody to be able to learn for themselves. And I felt that from that point of being the one that felt awkward in the office, having to keep saying, look, I need to know how to get through this one step just to be able to get to the next stage of this software, because
Yeah.
it was
Absolutely.
really
Yeah.
complicated. And so it was frustrating for them keep being asked for the help, frustrating for me having to keep ask for help. But at the same time, how many times as mothers, do we see parents saying, oh, look, just quicker if I do it myself? And that's a really good face. It's just easier if I do it myself. And then they never learn.
No, they
Sometimes
never
they've
learn.
got to do these things, and they've got to learn the hard way, and they've got to go through the mistakes, and they've got to do, and it's just, yeah. So I'm off on one. Sorry,
Amy,
you want
hi.
to? Amy's, yeah, hello, Amy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So yeah, I find always there's an enabler when I do talking therapy. There's always somebody in there that's enabled that person to be the way they are, whether it's anxiety, depression, addiction. There's always somebody very close that think that they're helping them by giving them money, maybe and it ends up buying drugs or alcohol, or if someone's anxious, then they're doing the job for them so that they don't have to be anxious. But actually, that person is not learning that thing is something they don't need to be anxious about, and they just have to keep doing it to reaffirm to themselves that actually that's okay. There's no threat to me, and I don't need to be anxious about it. So when mums or enablers or dads or aunties or friends are doing all of that, they're doing it out of pure kindness and out of pure love for that person, but it just doesn't help them. It's just making a rod for everyone's back, really, which is
yeah.
which you want to shake them and scream and say, stop it. But people's nature is to help people, and some people just can't see that that's not the way
Yeah.
forward. It's a cruel to be kind sort of situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's something I like to address from the book point of view. Is I like parents to realise, from my point of view, I like them to think that it's not that it's about blame for what they've already done so far, because they're just doing what they've learned from their parents and from other
Absolutely,
people, and
absolutely.
we're just following genetic patterns or hereditary patterns, and or
Yeah,
cultural traits, and you just
yeah.
follow what
Well,
everybody else does.
that follows with everything. With not only bringing how you bring your child up, what you feed that child, how you teach that child to behave in social situations. It's not hereditary, but it's learned behaviour from that parent or that guardian or that adult that the child has learned from, and that child was a blank canvas before.
Before you got your
And
hands on them and painted pictures with them, yeah, I know.
yeah,
Wipe the floor with them. But no, it's. I mean, goodness me. I mean, being a parent is stressful, and at times, you know that you want to do something to help them, but you don't know what to do at times. And what's Yvette put here? Yes, you have to be cruel to be kind sometimes, otherwise they'll never learn. Yes, I know Yvette knows that one very well. Bless her. Um, yes, Yvette, bless her, she was a neighbour of mine while our children were growing up. So
um,
we used to compare stories quite a lot back in the day and help each other out a lot. Bless her. But yeah, it was
yeah,
her son's a lovely lad. He's grown up really nice, or both their children. So yeah, it's one thing that we sort of pick up all these patterns from parents, and then we say, well, look, my parents did that, so we do that to our children, and then you start to think, well, okay, is that the right way to do something, or why is this not working? And but for me, it's not about blaming anybody or saying that I should feel guilty for what I'd done up to a certain point. It's about saying, okay, now I've realised there's a better way forward, or now I've realised there's something new I can learn or something else to try. And for me, it's about focusing forward and not thinking I've, because there was one thing I hated, and that was teachers who turned around and said, "Oh, you're just an overprotective mother." When I knew I had problems with my son, I knew there was something different about my son, but they weren't listening. And
No.
it was, he was 8 years old when he's diagnosed with Asperger's, but
Yeah.
they weren't very supportive in me getting that diagnosis for him, and were just very much blaming me for being an
It's still
overprotective mother.
difficult even now. I mean, I don't know how old your son is. How old is he?
He's 26 now, yeah.
Yeah. So 18 years ago, that was probably 10 times more difficult, but it still is equally as difficult now. Evidently, my daughter is a nursery practitioner, so
Mm-hmm.
she has to, when there's children that are showing signs of any autism on the spectrum, she has to document that and pass it over to social services and the parent, and there's that big group of people that all need to be made aware. But once to get a diagnosis, they're still fighting now to
Yeah.
get diagnosis, so they can decide what schools they need to go to and what extra support they need. And
Mm.
some children need one-to-one, some don't, and the more help you need, the harder it is to get a diagnosis. It seems to me.
Oh wow, and it's good to hear that there's a lot more knowledge and awareness about it now, because so we're going all around the houses now, but I like this. I mean, years ago, I was told, oh, we'll just do an individual educational plan, IEP as it was called then. In other words, a behavioural chart with stars on it,
Yeah,
or we'll set some little goals and we'll do that. And then when it didn't work, it was, oh, we'll just do another one. We'll just do another one. And it just, like, they didn't change what they were doing. They just kept going through that. And I ended up having to go through a private route to get him assessed and
yeah,
diagnosed. And I just felt like we had this very big challenge talking, when I was talking 10, 12 years ago, getting my son diagnosed. Well,
yeah.
longer than that, because I would say 26, 16, 8. So yeah, about 16 years ago.
Hmm.
And then once we'd got the diagnosis, then I'd got all these teachers saying, "Oh yeah, we thought it was that." I said, "Well, why didn't you tell tell me? Why didn't you
I
say
know.
anything?" "Oh no, we weren't allowed to.
And
It wasn't my place to tell you." They'd say. I was like,
there doesn't seem to be
"What?"
like help, support, or anything out there that's easily,
Mm,
got hold of for young mums that are just discovering that their children may be on the spectrum somewhere.
mm.
One of my clients actually is a occupational health, but not occupational health. What is she occupational health? Is that what they call? I think so. But it's not anything to do with occupational health. She diagnoses children with autism,
Oh
and
wow,
then
yeah.
but she's private. She's a private lady, and she said there's hardly any of those. She was in the NHS, but there's hardly any of those left now. And people have to go to her privately, and she's the one that sort of says, well, you can get this help from here and that help from there, but you
Mm,
can't really go on the internet and type in help me, and there's just not really anything local that you can find unless you happen to know someone or
mm.
someone could put you. It's just not anything
Yeah.
out there.
Well, they do. One of the speakers I've had on here, I don't know if it was this 28-day challenge, or it might have been the 28-day challenge that I did before the weekly show. But a lady named Sam Warner, she's on one of my videos, and she helps people. She doesn't diagnose people with Asperger's or autism, but she supports them with like life coaching. But she's
Yeah.
on the autistic spectrum herself, which is amazing,
Uh-huh.
and she's
Yeah.
embraced that and using that to help other people, which is incredible. She's very inspirational. So. What's
Yeah.
Vet put
Brilliant.
here? Vet's put, my son has ADHD. We had problems to get him statemented in junior school. It wasn't until the last 2 years at high school he got help. And I think, if I remember
Oh, that's
rightly,
so sad, isn't it?
I think Yvette ended up moving their son to a different school to get
Wow.
him the support, and it was actually the same school that I had problems with. But hi, lovely ladies, we've got another Facebook user. Hi, here
Facebook
you
user.
are. Yeah, we've got a lot of Facebook users tonight. This is good. I'm pleased
Have
we've got a
we?
good audience tonight.
Excellent. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Hopefully some of them are my ladies that know
Yeah,
me.
I'm
Are they?
sure they are, because they
Does
don't come and
anybody
see
know
you.
me, or are they all okay?
Well, there's Kat
Oh.
there, and the
I
other
saw
lady,
Kat and Amy
Alison and Amy. They've all come to see
and
you.
Alison. Yeah, lovely Alison. She's my friend.
Yeah, yeah, they've all come to speak
Fabulous.
to you. There we go. That's great. So yeah, so I'm just trying to think. Oh, it's half an hour gone already.
Wow.
Yeah. So all these things about the mind we've talked about and conversation. And obviously, as we're using the word holistic tonight, so you're getting worried now, like I can see it. I'm good. I like jargon.
I'm not worried
So
at
we're
all.
talking about the mind and holistic and talking and all of that. But there is much more to emotional awareness and emotions and feelings and mental well-being. And another one of the things that you've got on your list is nutrition. So tell me how you've managed to go from being chef to being so all these therapies and bringing nutrition in on the back of it.
Well, nutrition is always being in cooking food for 35 years. Is obviously that goes hand in hand with that. But it wasn't until I studied my massage that I realised that really we are exactly what we eat, and what we put in is what we are. But the saddest thing is that most people. Oh, good girl, thanks, Kat. But most people either aren't aware completely what they're putting in their mouth, or have got that gap in the knowledge when it comes to cooking stuff. So I've sort of decided that I've got to help as many people as I possibly can be healthy through their nutrition, because that is the foundation of our physical and our mental health at the end of the day. So I've written a 5-step holistic lifestyle change program that people can take online, and each step is goes into a different branch of a holistic. So I've got mindset, I've got mindset and positivity, I've got how to balance and relax, how to excellent. I don't know who that is. It just says Facebook user. Can you type your name so I know who you are? So I do. So it's based in nutrition. So it's all about the really, really, really bad stuff and the really, really, really good stuff. And then you've got your mindset and your balance. You've got your relaxing, and you've got your positivity. And then the 5th step is literally cooking techniques on quick, easy stuff. This is so easy, I can't even tell you. It's all 10-minute, easy peasy stuff. And the first step is like a preparation step. So you get your brain ready, you get your body ready, you get your fridge ready, and you get your meal planning, you get a goal setting, and all that thing, so that you can be successful and see it through to the end.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
And change that lifestyle a little bit, just to make your whole, because in my research for it, I discovered all sorts of medical studies and evidence and news reports, and low level anxiety, depression, all of that stuff is completely categorically to do with what's going in your mouth.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, they don't really grasp this, and especially for younger people, we are what we eat. And when we say that, and I think a nice way to think of that is when you put a little seed in the ground and it turns, I would say a little seed like that, and it turns into a complete tree. The tree doesn't come out of the seed. The seed is just an instruction manual for the soil to turn into the tree. The tree comes out of all the soil that you plant the seed in. And it, in a very similar way, is we start off this tiny little egg, and then we grow, but we grow based, like you said, everything that we put in our mouth converts into cells in our body, and the cells in our body become what we are. And then it gets
and particularly the anxiety and the depression, because we're talking about emotional awareness and emotion at that. It's because everybody is buying the processed food, which everybody is buying processed food which has no serotonin in it, no tryptophan in it, which is what makes our emotions balanced, our mood balanced. It makes us less anxious, and it makes us not depressed, because we're eating whole foods that contain all of that good stuff. That's why we were eating it for hundreds of thousands of years, up until just 50 years ago, when all of a sudden we're now bombarded with packets and packets and packets and jars and tins and more packets, and it's just so depressing.
Yeah.
To see that, and younger people, they're told that it's convenient and it's quick and it's shiny and it's You know, they've got millions of pounds of dollars of marketing budget to sell this stuff. But honey and carrot and vegetables haven't got any marketing budget. And, you know, it's just so annoying.
Yeah, I get it. And it's difference between what we call living food and dead food, isn't it? Because once it's been processed and pasteurized and cooked, you're
Yeah.
killing off all
Well,
those
I
enzymes
refused
and
in my
nutrients.
online workshop. I stopped calling it food, and I call it CAC. So that's CAC, which stands for colorants, additives, and chemicals. Just because even just saying processed food, it's not food. There is no food in that stuff.
Not
No food.
it's filling, but it's not nutritious in any way, shape, or form. Most of it.
Not in
And
any
like you
way,
said,
shape, or form. And
there
probably
are,
more harmful than anything.
yeah, and it's about more than just filling your stomach up and stopping you feeling hungry. It is about what you're putting in your body and the different elements of food that you're putting in. Like, for example, celery has got so many nutrients in, but it just, it looks like a horrible tasteless stick, but actually it's one of the healthiest things out there. I think celery and cucumber and some of the things that we go, ooh,
All of that green fabulous stuff is the best stuff you could ever eat, and it's full of all the stuff we need to make us healthy, which is why there's so much illness and disease that's so prevalent now.
yeah, yeah. And it's quite interesting because some of the biggest animals on earth, like elephants and hippopotamuses and
They don't eat
rhinoceroses
Cadbury's
and
mini rolls.
cattle like bulls and big beefy bull, yeah, they just live on grass and greens,
Yep,
and look how
it's
big and
fine. Yeah.
muscly they are. And so we don't, I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that about the vegetarian side, but about the fact that there is a lot of nutrition in there. It is healthy. So was it Katrina? She's putting her diet up for the night. We had sweet and sour chicken nuggets tonight, but homemade ones. Well done, Katrina. They're made from proper chicken breasts, and I'm
Good
going to pull it up
girl.
here. Sorry, proper chicken breasts, and he made the sauce from scratch too. Oh, well done!
Well done,
Congratulations.
Jane.
So yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I won't say what I had for tea. Not
Okay.
today.
I had a
My
Thai
shopping's
green
being
curry, which
delivered
I also
tomorrow.
made from scratch.
No, my shopping's being delivered tomorrow, so I had whatever was left over in the fridge today.
I'm on a low carb session at the moment, so I've cut carbs out completely, which is great, which is really helping me.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And instead of potatoes, bread, carbs, I'm having bean sprouts and cabbage and fabulous stuff, and I just feel so much better. I can't even tell you. I already felt quite good to start with, but cutting all that carbs out was it's just doing it for me.
Yeah, no, I've
I'm
been
not
off the
being
carb for
stupid
months.
and going keto and only 30 grams, and that's just crazy.
No, see,
But
for
I'm
me,
just
I can't be doing with all that planning and weighing. That is where I struggle. I'm not very good with all the planning and the weighing and keeping count of the calories and that and the carbs.
yeah.
And I've had a few months where I've virtually cut the carbs out. Virtually, obviously, I know we need some, but this last weekend I just threw a load back in, and now I've just been feeling like already headachy, and so yeah, got to be good again. But yeah, had a few off days. So I definitely notice the difference after a couple of months without the carbs. You notice the difference when you put all the junk food back in again. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
I can't stand. Once I've cut something out, I can't stand to put it back in again. It just makes you feel awful, and I get tummy ache, and
yeah,
it's just
yeah,
not
that as
good.
well. Yeah,
Yeah,
all the, and I think sometimes until people cut things out, like you say, until you've had that time without something, you don't realise the side effects until you put it back in, and then you're like, oh my god, was I living like that before? And
yeah.
it's worth a try. And
Well, when I launched my workshop, then included in the preparation stage, step one is a home test blood test kit. So you can see any allergies that you have and food intolerances. So you're starting off on a even keel, because if you're going to eat cabbage and you're allergic to it or intolerant to it, then that's going to be a bit of an issue. So included in the whole preparation is a blood test that you can take at home and get the test results at home as well too.
okay, that's different to the one you were telling me recently about the hair.
Yeah, that's. I looked at the hair, but actually, it's not as precise as a blood
Okay.
test. So I decided to go for the blood test. It's like you just prick your finger and put
Yeah.
blocks on a paper, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's all sorts of different tests the same company do. You know, you can get a bowel test, a pregnancy test, everything test really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
that's
obviously their
I'm
speciality.
going to
Yeah.
be using those going forward.
Mm. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just trying to think because we oh, I had a question in my head a minute ago and it's gone. I'm not doing my job right if I don't forget what I'm talking about once in a session. Every week I forget something I'm saying. Brain fog. There's another one. It all happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
So
all the
Yvette
carbs.
says she can't have wheat and gluten, and the same here. I avoid the wheat and gluten a lot. But yeah, so it's not that I can't have them. I just
Gluten's
know when I've
another
had
thing.
them. But yeah. Then
Yeah,
there's a difference between intolerances and allergies, and there's all different reactions. Everybody's different.
yeah,
Yeah. So, um, yeah, I was going to say because with nutrition, obviously, bring this back around a little bit to the emotional awareness side of it.
yeah.
One of the things that I found with my son quite early on, and that was before this became a big Jamie Oliver thing with the school meals, was that I'd kept a food diary for my son for about 2 years when he was going through all his
Uh-huh.
depression. Even when he was like 7, 8, 9 years old, I was already trying to watch what he was eating. And one of the things that I noticed over a long time, and it took time, was unlike the children who would drink orange juice and then have a hyperactive fit 10 minutes later, my son would eat processed meat and then have a suicidal or depressed state 2 days later.
Yeah,
And so one of the things we learned from him quite early on was to cut out all that processed meat. And it was
yeah,
really hard, apart from buying raw chicken, pork, beef. You couldn't buy things like ham or anything even. And it was very hard sometimes to find meat, even I think corned beef was about the only sliced meat I would buy, as awful as it sounds, but it was actually the one with the least amount of preservatives and processors and colorings and everything in it,
yeah.
and was one of the healthiest ones though. So corned beef was about the only
If
sliced meat
you find
or just raw meat.
what do you call them in English? Like somebody that makes all their own sausages, like a butcher or
Oh yeah,
a place that makes all their own ham and stuff, and it's organic or grass fed, then you can't go wrong. It's when they're just filling that stuff full up of nitrates, whatever it is,
yeah,
traits and trites and all sorts of things. And
yeah,
there's a big long word that goes in everything, and that is just carcinogenic, and they're putting that in everything.
yeah. That's that
It's
weird
butylated
plastic chip in hand.
hydroxytoluene or something it's called.
Yeah, okay, right. We'll take your word for that.
But that is in literally
Good
everything.
go, though. Good go. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. So yeah, if you can eat organic meat and
yeah.
you can
I
eat
think
sausagey things and pre-prepared things as long as you know who's prepared them is probably the best
yeah.
way forward.
Well, Kat has put in there she'd be interested in chatting with you more, so I'm sure she'll get in contact with you about that. So
Okay,
thank you,
that's
Kat.
good.
Thanks for listening in tonight as well. So yeah, it's interesting. So when we're talking about emotional awareness and mental health, as well as all the therapies for what's going on in your life, who influences you, just watching what you're eating as well. And like you said, not only what you need to cut out of your diet, but what you need to put in is so important. Like you said, certain foods help to put in chemicals that increase because all our emotional reactions are all like interlinked with chemistry in our bodies. Like you said, with the dopamine and serotonin, you've got the cortisol, the adrenaline, and everything
The
we think,
endorphins,
feel, and
yeah,
do.
all of that.
It's we're always this little chemical swirl of hormones going on, and food has a huge part.
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
people are feeling depressed or anxious, and they go to the doctors and they give them some serotonin, which is what the antidepressants are.
yeah,
Oh, thank you, Yvette.
yeah. Thank
Which is
you.
what
Yeah.
this is what that's what antidepressants are, is serotonin in whatever different form, and they're just
Mm,
giving it to people in a pill because people have lost the knowledge of what is good for their body and their brain and what isn't,
mm,
unfortunately,
yeah.
because we're so bombarded by the marketing and the adverts and the packets and the glossy things, and
Mm,
we've all bought into it
yeah.
because
Yeah.
poor old carrots
Absolutely.
and honey don't have any
No.
adverts.
No. No, they don't, do they? Apart from on
No.
Wallace and Gromit and the big carrot thing.
Yeah.
About the
So,
biggest, healthiest carrot I've seen in a long while on Wallace and Gromit.
so
But yeah,
hopefully, I can help people relearn all that stuff,
yeah,
all of the
absolutely.
all of the nutritional stuff, all of the holistic stuff, and
Oh, that
some
reminds me, your
cooking stuff on
website.
the way.
If anybody who is interested in knowing more, I'm going to put Denise's website in the chat here. That will pop up.
Thank
And
you.
oh, you know what? Ignore that. That's my LinkedIn one. Why did that not copy over? That's my link. That's my post to my LinkedIn page today. I hadn't copied the website. Let me try that one
It's
again.
just www.therapyshed.com.
There we go. Yep, it hadn't copied and it's still got my LinkedIn profile on the familiar. Sorry. But if anybody wants to follow me on LinkedIn, please do. That's there as well now. Unintentionally.
Yeah, so
There
I'd
we
love to
go.
hear from anybody who wants to know any more about anything, any advice, what to do, what not to do. Then please just drop me an email from the website or on my Facebook page.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
And
great
I think it's
to
been absolutely amazing tonight that we've covered so much in a way, and that, like you say about the talking therapies, looking at your social, emotional sort of background around you, about what you eat, and all that sort of self-judgment thing, and
yeah,
being able to be positive working forward, and being able to set little goals, like even booking a massage. Just we were saying earlier about just booking a massage and giving yourself a reward and a treat and deserving something, and they're just
it is. I mean,
very,
that is something
yeah,
we all don't do enough of. Even the people that do come for massage probably aren't doing enough stuff. And if you're
yeah,
feeling really, really, really down, the trouble is you don't want to do things for yourself. You want to go under the
yeah,
duvet and hope everything goes away. So it's a hard
yeah,
transition to make from,
yeah.
oh God, go away, to I've really got to start looking after
Mm.
myself. And even if it's going for a picnic, taking a walk, anything, anything is
Yeah,
fabulous. It doesn't have to cost any money.
yeah. So just doing something for yourself,
Go and get
really
a bowl of
important.
strawberries or anything, have your nails done, have your hair done, have your beard trimmed if you're a man and you've got a beard.
Yeah.
Just anything.
Mm.
Do something. In my workshop, there's a whole list, like loads of stuff, just in case you don't know on how you can make yourself feel a little bit better on down days, and things you can do to up your
Yeah.
levels of serotonin, even if you haven't eaten enough just yet.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, because yeah, eating is one way to increase serotonin, but it is those activities as well. I mean, for me, I've recently started doing a little bit of painting, and I found that
Yeah,
was good. But then other days, I'm like, oh, I just really don't feel like doing it again today. So some days I might feel like going for a walk, and it helps. So it's about having like a little go-to list as well, and like, which one do you feel like doing
absolutely,
today?
yeah.
I mean, some
And
people are just,
connecting with nature is a massive thing for humans. And if you can be walking and doing a little bit of exercise at the same time, it's a double whammy. So,
yeah,
it's winner winner. And kids love it, and picnics are great, and
yeah.
just
Thank
just
you for
anything
that.
you can do to get outside and walk. And I don't know if Alison is still listening, but one time I was having a bit of a down period, and Alison and I went for a walk in Sandringham. And when we came back, I can only speak for myself, but I felt so fabulous, so much better. We'd had a great old good girly chat on the way round, and we did the long way round Sandringham, and it was just fabulous. We stopped and had lunch, and what more can you want? That's just a fabulous thing to do with a friend, isn't
Yeah,
it? Just grab a friend and go for a walk and
yeah.
have a chat.
And actually, that is something I've had that conversation come up so much from so many people in the last couple of weeks, and seeing it all over LinkedIn and Facebook, is about people feeling like they're just really, really lacking that human connection now. Even when you're living with somebody, with a family, and it's
Yeah,
just about that outside connection with other people. It's really, even though we're getting to get out and meet people a little bit now, it just still doesn't quite feel enough, and like we're really craving it. And I did the
yeah.
same. I went to meet up with a friend on Saturday, and we were going to meet at a cafe, but their website said they were closed. So I took the camper van down and parked in a forest car park nearby the cafe. And it turned out when we went past, the cafe was open, but they just hadn't updated their website since the lockdown.
Oh,
But
dear.
anyway, never mind, that was their loss. So I parked the camper van up. She came and met me there. And it turned into a 5-hour-long conversation. We had a real good chat, went for a walk around the woods, and oh my God, felt so much better for it. But we
And it
exactly
didn't
what
cost
you mean.
anything.
No, apart from the fuel to get down there, we both took a
Yep.
packed lunch, and the kettle was in the camper van to pour the coffee I needed. So yeah, that was we couldn't have sat in the cafe for 5 hours drinking coffee. I'd have been done out by then. But
No,
it was just absolutely amazing. And
it's just things that you have to do. It's no
yeah,
good sitting in watching telly or being on your iPad or laptop or whatever. Go and
no,
do some things outside.
absolutely, yeah. And we got a chance to do that now, just in case we get another lockdown later this year. And just plead with
We
everybody,
won't, we
please get
won't.
out and do
Be
what you can
positive,
now.
Kay.
No, we're fingers crossed we're not going to get another one, but you don't
We
know at
won't
this
get another
rate.
one.
So no, we're looking forward to getting out and doing more, and meeting up with more people, and getting out for walks and coffees, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's been great.
absolutely. Yeah.
No, Yvette says. Like,
I
no,
can't,
no, any more lockdowns, we're still coming out this. I think she
no,
wants
we're
to do
not going to have any
lockdown.
lockdown.
Either that or
No.
she doesn't want that cup of coffee we've been talking about for ages. Yvette and I still need to get together for a catch up and a coffee and a walk as well. So that's absolutely great. So, but is there anything else you want to cover before we sort of wrap up tonight? Anything?
Well, as we're talking about emotional awareness, I just want people to be more emotionally aware and realize that that just doesn't come, just because we get up in the morning, we're not going to be on our top game and we're not going to be the happiest person in the world. We have to work at that and do stuff for ourselves and go for a walk. We have to eat properly. We have to eat properly, and we have to, physically make that work. We have to put the effort in.
Yeah.
It's not just going to come to us. We have to do it. The same as if in your relationship with your partner or your children or whatever, you have to put the effort in.
Yeah.
You have to do the communication. You have to do the physical something that that's going to make you feel better. I know that going to work every day is going to make at least 4 people happy that day. And that's what makes me go to work every day, just imagine that I can make 4 people happy every day that weren't as happy. They were a lot happier when they left me and when they came in for whatever they've been for.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
what more can you
amazing.
ask
Yeah.
for? So those 4 people that I see every day have made that commitment to themselves to go and do something to make themselves feel better instead of just putting up with feeling meh.
Yeah.
Don't put up with feeling meh. Go and be proactive and do stuff to not feel meh.
Well said. Well said. But it is, isn't it? Because the world is not going to come and give you all of this abundance and happiness. It will give you
No.
all the rest. And you're so right. It's like I said to you before I did do that the wrong hand. My diagram up here. We've got happy, sad, angry, and depressed. And
Okay.
you are going to spend your whole life living in one of those 4 colours.
Yeah.
Make a choice as to which one it is, and there's only one of them I want to be in, but we usually end up defaulting to the other 3 if we're not careful. So
And
happiness
also
is the one we have to work for. But yeah.
people have to remember that happiness is inside of each and every one of us.
Yeah.
It's not in people, it's not in money, and it's not in things. It's inside. And you have to find you're happy and what's going to make you happy, and you have to go out and get that and do that. It's not just going to come and knock on your door. Hi, I'm going to make you happy. It's not. You're going to make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard work, but it's the one worth working for. The others come easily. The happiness is
Exactly.
the
And
one
you
we do
won't
have
have
to
the
work
others
for.
if you're happy.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all the reason. That's why I love the diagram. It just makes it more visual and obvious to me. When I'm helping other people understand is that that happiness is up there, but that is gravity is heavy for a reason, and gravity is the depression. The gravity of a
Yeah.
situation. We talk about it in that way. Feeling light and happy and airy and on top of the world. It's all up there in the yellow. So yeah, like Denise says, we have to go out and work for that one, and you have to proactively do those happy things. So, if you're in North Norfolk area, whether you live here, whether you're coming up here on holiday, get in touch with Denise at the therapy show for a massage and get booked in. Just warn your book well ahead. She's very busy. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much tonight for everything you've talked about with me. It's been great having a chat
Pleasure. I've loved it.
live. We've had a great audience tonight. I've had so much
We
input. It's
have.
lovely. Yeah, I want this more
Yeah, I
often.
like all the chatting. That's good, isn't it, when people chat as well?
Yeah. Normally get Yvette watching Bless Her and everybody else watches replays. So it's been absolutely amazing tonight.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we get one or two sometimes, but that's great. So yeah, well done to you both tonight. Thank you, Yvette.
Night,
Thank
Yvette. Thanks
you.
for
And
coming.
thanks to Kat, Eloise, Alison, and anybody else who's been watching. There's been quite a few tonight. So thank you
Oh,
all.
wow. That's great.
And
Do we
yeah.
know who's been watching, or is it just say
Oh, and
Facebook
Amy.
users?
Amy as well. So yeah, it was Kat,
Yeah.
Eloise, Amy, Yvette, and
Alison.
there's a couple of others as well, been in and out. And I think some other people have popped in and out. So
Oh, fabulous. That's great.
oh, thank you. I think that was Eloise. Well done, girls.
Thank you,
Thank
Eloise.
you. And Alison says, fab discussion, ladies. Thank
Oh,
you,
that's
Alison.
nice.
Nice
Thank
to
you,
meet you.
Alison.
Thank you. Thank you. But no, it's been a lovely chat, Denise, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And thank you. And it's all going to be on replay. So if anybody hasn't managed to catch us on the live and you're catching it on the replay, don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be back again next Tuesday at 7 p.m. with Jonathan Trowan, which is all about self-love. And for anybody who hasn't seen the previous conversation with Jonathan Trowan, please go and find it, because at the end of that discussion, we began to get quite philosophical and decided that we needed to take it further, which is why we've rescheduled him for next week. So we look forward to continuing that one next week. But for this week, thank you so much, Denise, and
My
speak
pleasure.
to you
Thank
again
you.
soon. Take care. Good
Thanks.
night,
Bye.
everybody. Bye bye.